Bellevue, and you can literally hear a pin drop in this ground right now. Can John Keir lift the spirits of his team following the tragic events of the past 7 days? And St Helens know that this is going to be an emotionally charged night. Everybody in this ground has just watched that interview with the parents of Leon Walker, Steve and Donna, and as you can see, there is barely a dry eye in this house. And there is the family of Leon Walker. He died in the reserve fixture last Sunday against the Celtic Crusaders at Maesteg. It was the latest savage blow to hit this club. Already reeling from the loss of Adam Watteen in the close season, the players, officials and supporters of the Wildcats were obviously shell-shocked to learn of the passing of one of their promising youngsters who paid the ultimate price for his love and devotion to this sport. The players in the dressing room there waiting to come out and take part in the minute silence for Leon Walker, who was signed from Salford last November. He featured in 3 of Wakefield's 4 pre-season friendlies and was in the Wakefield side that faced St Helens in the Paul Wellens testimonial game on January the 18th. He was the Salford Academy Player of the Year in 2006. He'd represented Yorkshire and England Academy in 2007, and he was a product of the Cherwell Chiefs Amateur Club near Leeds. And Leon Walker was just 20 years of age. As I say, nobody in this ground right now is talking. The only one talking is me. It is an eerie silence that has descended over Bellevue right now. Thankfully, deaths on the field are rare in rugby league. The last in the top flight competition happened 32 years ago as St Helens emerged to applause from the 4 corners of this ground. Leeds halfback Chris Sanderson was fatally injured in a game at Salford in April 1977. He would in all probability have played at Wembley against Widnes just a fortnight later. And prior to this season, Wakefield's players and coaching staff dedicated 2009 to the memory of Adam Watteen, who died during a training session in the gym here. They vowed to get at least to the playoffs this year in his memory. And Wakefield, led by their captain, Jason Demetriou, who is wearing Adam Watteen's number 8. He leads his teammates onto the field for this solemn and sombre occasion. The club has really been hit by tragedy over the last 12 months. David Topless, the former coach and player here, he passed away last July. Don Fox, another former Lance Todd Trophy winner, also died last year. And added to all of that, the start of this season has seen Richard Moore diagnosed with Crohn's disease, and Jamie Rooney's heart stopped temporarily during a routine knee operation in February. So you can see the death of young Leon Walker has hit this club incredibly hard. The players now will line up on opposite sides of the field, and along with the reserve team and the academy team of Wakefield, they will pay their tribute to Leon Walker.
Ladies and gentlemen, last Sunday saw the tragic loss of not only a highly promising rugby league player, but a young man. At just 20 years of age, Leon Walker was taken from a loving family and an adoring group of friends and a group of teammates who looked up to him even at his tender age. Leon wanted to play rugby league and began his career at Cherwell Chiefs as a 6-year-old, where he represented the club at all their age levels up to under 16s. Leon joined Salford at 16 and spent 3 years at the Willows in the club's academy before signing for the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats in November 2008. He was a talented rugby player who was comfortable at the second row, always forward, and his undoubted potential was shown by both representative honours he earned in both Yorkshire and England. Leon played Wildcats in the pre-season friendlies against Doncaster and handed the win against the Leeds Rhinos on Boxing Day 2008, the day before his 20th birthday. He was so missed by everyone who knew him and by the rugby league family as a whole.
Minute silence, impeccably observed. In fact, there was almost 10 minutes of silence inside this ground here tonight. As soon as the interview with the parents was shown on the big screen and the moment that they appeared on the pitch, there was an eerie silence fell over Bellevue. So after all of that, there is now a match to play, and it's the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats who are going to get the game against St Helens underway. Danny Brough gets us going, and it is a really cold night here. The kick-off, though, perfect, bounced in the field of play, bounced over the heads of the St Helens players, and John Keir's men, they get the head and feed at the first scrum 10 metres away from the St Helens line. I must say that John Keir, stock as a man and a mentor, has risen enormously during his time in charge here, and that has proved to be the case once again this week. This now is Ryan Atkins for the Wildcats.
They certainly needed a good start, and John Keir will be happy with that. A bit lax, St Helens allowing the bounce. It is very windy out there as well, so any high kicks will be a problem.
That was Griggs, and the ball then goes down the right-hand side, and St Helens have it all to do to keep them out here. That's Oliver Wilkes, the prop forward. He's halted just 2 or 3 metres away from the St Helens line. Tavita Leolatu is the dummy half. He comes back and finds Griggs again, who in turn finds Danny Brough. Brough shows it to one, gives it to Atkins. That's good defence from Nady Gardner.
Had to be as well. He just shifted in, made sure that he couldn't get ground forward.
Brough stabs the kick in, that'll bounce off the post, and that's an early score, and it is a score here for Steve Snitch. What a start for Wakefield. Steve Snitch with the try. The kick bounced off the post perfectly for Snitch, and Steve Snitch back at Wakefield. He was here for 3 years, 2002, 2005, gives John Keir's men the perfect start.
All came about by the error from the kick-off that allowed them to get the possession. And the man of the moment, Danny Brough, one of the best short kickers in the game of Super League. It was absolutely superb. Waited, no fluke about it. They practiced time and time again to try to make sure that they get their kick into the big pads at the side. Can he add the extra 2?
Well, Danny Brough from bang in front, he never normally misses those, and he doesn't tonight. And Wakefield, it's almost inevitable really that they lead 6 points to 0 after such an emotionally charged night.
There you see it bobbling around, and they really should have gone for it. Big mistake there, but from here he took control, as he has done so often through his career. Danny Brough, he can control a game, and it was a superb kick, bounced up. Snitch got the lucky bounce, but you make your own luck in this game.
Well, to say, back at Wakefield, he was here 2002, 2005, then he had 3 years at Huddersfield. On a 2-year deal, he came back in the close season, and the perfect start, as I say, for the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats. Phil, in many ways that, I suppose, was written in the script.
Well, it is, yeah. Wakefield have started seasons well, and it's a nice boost, I think, for everybody here, for the Wakefield supporters and the Wakefield players here. But obviously now want to focus on the side and the performance over the remainder of this match.
Damien Blanche is the dummy half for Wakefield. He drives it forward and is met by Paul Clough and John Wilkin. Tavita Leolatu offers Wakefield so much from dummy half. Brad Drew, of course, is still out injured, and he will be rested probably until the start of the Easter programme. All the coaches, of course, have their eyes next week on Challenge Cup duty, and then the week after that it is the very busy Easter programme. And Brough with the kick right down the middle of the field. Johnny Lomax gets his first touch in the Engage Super League, the young fullback who is filling in for the injured Paul Wellens. 4 minutes of the game gone. Wakefield ahead here by 6 points to 0.
Oh, big problems there for Oliver Wilkes. He went in awkward into that tackle. And he's in a lot of trouble, is Wilkes. Went in very awkward.
Yes, Wilkes. Looks like there's a bit of blood flowing from the nose there, perhaps, as Flannery takes it forward for St Helens up to the halfway line. Kieran Cunningham waits at dummy half, weighing up the options both ways. Good drive forward now by Bryn Hargreaves. And Oliver Wilkes back on his feet, as you can see, but blood pouring from the nose as Leon Price will hoist the kick, and that will catch the breeze. It's difficult here for Blaymire. He didn't touch it, did he? The referee was very close.
Now they bring it back to the 20.
He's going to ask the video referee, I think, just to check that out for him, whether Blaymire did get a hand to it.
Well, it's a night where you give it plenty of air. Did he touch it with his fingers, or did he just pull away? It's maybe the close-up shot, we'll see. I think he's touched it. I think he's gone for it. I think this will be a dropout from underneath the sticks. Does it divert? Very difficult. I just get the impression that he's brushed it with his fingertips. There's a little bit of an angle as it comes back. This will be the dropout, I feel. It's going to be a problem, Phil Clark, with this wind. It is swirling all over the joint.
Blaymire shakes his head, Phil, sorry. He doesn't believe he did get a touch to it.
I think the angles were inconclusive, but you would have to say that it looked more likely than not that he did touch the ball. Great kick from St Helens. You know, they'll be hoping that Oliver Wilkes is okay. He's one of 4 players playing here for Wakefield tonight who've started every game in the same position. He's been the foundation on which Wakefield's success has been built in 2009.
Let's go down to Bill immediately.
Oliver Wilkes having running repairs while that decision was being made. He has got a smack on the nose, and I think he's got 2 bits of cotton wool shoved up his nostrils now by the newly appointed Wakefield Wildcats physio Simon Ray.
This is Wilkin, there is Wilkes. He was involved in that tackle. That's Graham. Here's Price, and this now is young Wheeler.
Interesting to see how young Wheeler gets into the combination with Leon Price. A lot of responsibility on standoff Price tonight. He will play half-back for most of it. Wheeler is more at home in the standoff position.
Cunningham, a good run, gets it away to Flannery. And Flannery surrounded by 3 Wakefield jerseys. Ferguson is one, Tavita Leolatu is another. It's the last tackle here. Cunningham, ball into the middle of the field to Price. He finds Wheeler. Wheeler goes wide. On the bounce, it finds its way to Francis Melly. Oh, he gets away from one tackle. Was that off a Wakefield player?
It was, but was he getting into the vault of the tackle? Did the ball hit the man rather than the other way around? Francis Melly looks. He flicks the ball through here. It certainly came off.
Sean Gleeson, I think.
Yeah, Gleeson got a fingertip to him, but was he involved in the tackle?
He's given head and feed to St Helens, so the answer is yes, it was involving in the tackle by Sean Gleeson.
It's always difficult.
Well, there's 2 decisions gone against Wakefield here early that both Blaymire and Gleeson cannot believe. Here is Gidley, and he gets it away to Lomax. Down he goes under the challenge from Ryan Atkins. Now it's Cunningham. Up the centre they go with Paul Clough. Big effort required here from the Wakefield Wildcats defence as Cunningham gives it to Graham. He's halted just underneath the post, as you can see. Cunningham will try and pinch one, typically, and Cunningham is held up over the line. The tackle count will continue back on the 10-metre mark.
Typical run.
I don't know why teams don't take him over the dead ball line. If he wants to keep pushing in with the legs, let him do that.
This is Price. Price gets it away to Gilmore, and Gilmore trying to get one down that left-hand side. And Gilmore is forced back. That will be the last. This is a big effort here from Wakefield. Can they hold out? Remember, this is the second consecutive set of 6 they've had coming at them with Wilkin. Oh, and he lost the ball. It went to ground, and they can survive. That was good work by the try scorer Snitch. Dropped on the loose ball from Wilkin.
Pretty adventurous well by the Saints. They got the lucky bounce when it came off the arm of Sean Gleeson, but they were going for the power play. That really was good pressure. No chance there.
8 minutes gone here at Bellevue. Justin Morgan, understandable. It's an eerie atmosphere, isn't it?
Certainly is, and very interesting to see St Helens here with a couple of youngsters. Young Johnny Lomax at fullback. The role of the fullback these days is very much defence orientated, making sure the numbers are right, making sure your wingers are in position to catch the kicks, and he's going to have to be on his game tonight with Danny Brough, one of the best kickers in the game from the Wakefield team.
This is Tavita Leolatu for a Wakefield side. They've won all 3 of their home games so far. St Helens haven't lost on the road, by the way, for 12 months. As Brough drills the ball all along the ground. It's a little tester for Lomax, but he just waited patiently. And he takes the tackle from Atkins, from the number 29, Jay Pitts.
Well, that's the second time they've tested out Lomax, but his positional sense is very good indeed. Oh, that looked high on Gardner.
Gardner gets
Ryan
his feet.
Atkins really went over the shoulder.
Played that to Cunningham, who found Melly, and Francis Melly back in Super League after all of his visa problems. He played last week in the reserve team fixture against Leeds. Here is Graham.
That was a great run, wasn't it, from Francis Melly? Good 15 metres forward. That's what you need from a winger, to come in, take a bit of responsibility off the forwards.
Bryn Hargreaves now for St Helens. He'll go down here on the last tackle. Cunningham scampers in again as usual to dummy half. They're going down the short side. Wilkin with a little chip over the top.
Take the first knock on. Definitely went for it. This will be head and feet to Saints. Wilkin thinks that it is carrying on. He's doing the right thing though. Play to the final whistle.
Touch judge has called over to the touch judge on the far side. Another head and feet here to St Helens. He went on and placed the ball over the line here, Wilkin.
Is that really a knock on from Wakefield, Eddie? Does that ball go forwards?
Would be a charge down. Charge downs aren't knock on, so he's actually played at the ball there for the replay. So
I don't think it goes forwards anyway, the ball. Look where the player is and look where the ball goes to the Saints player. That's 3 calls, Eddie, that have gone against them.
Well, it isn't, because he's changed the decision. He's given the throw to Wakefield.
He's completely confused, is Thierry Alibert, mainly due to the fact that the St Helens players didn't want to pack, and they were saying to the official, it's our head and ball. He knows it. And the touch judge must know a little bit of French, got the message to him.
He wants the scrum to bind. He speaks pretty good English, Thierry Alibert. He has given the head and feed to Wakefield, and he's absolutely spot on, as our replays proved. Gleeson will get to his feet. Tavita Leolatu is the dummy half. And Catalan Dragons are ahead at Headingley, 4-0. So 6-0 here to Wakefield against St Helens, 4-0 to the Catalan Dragons at Headingley against the champions, as Tavita Leolatu gives the ball to Grix. Grix then helps it on, but there's a welcoming committee there.
Pretty basic football from Wakefield. It's nothing fancy at the moment. They know they're trying to get good field position. Oh, that's good play.
Great feet. Here goes Damien Blanche. Ball on the inside. This movement continues on for a moment, but then Jason Dimitri is forced over the line. It'll be head and feet at the scrum this time to St Helens. And I think there's a problem in back play for, is it Lee Gilmore?
Well, it looked awkward when he went into Damien Blanche there, but he has had problems. Francis Melly. But what about a neat little sidestep with Sean Gleeson? Tremendous footwork.
That's Wheeler. That's good defence though for Wakefield. Gleeson and Blaymeyer very quickly into the tackle. Hargreaves it was who played the ball to Cunningham. He found Clough. St Helens up to halfway on the third tackle. Over the halfway line they go now. Flannery Gidley, beautiful hands. Here's Gardner, and Gardner hacks the kick downfield, looking for Flannery following up. Oh, it's a wonderful kick this. It's gone arcing across the in-goal area, and Blanche has picked it up.
Did his foot hit the in-goal? This will be interesting. Ooh, very close.
No, he didn't.
Oh.
Fantastic footwork from Damien Blanche.
Great work from Gardner, wasn't it? Not much room to move.
Huddersfield 2 up at Wigan. 6-0 here at Bellevue, 12.5 minutes gone. St Helens arrive on the back of their best performance and their finest win of 2009, 26-18 against the Leeds Rhinos last week. 3 straight wins behind them. They've won 5 of their first 6 this year. This is Melly.
Well, I'm not so sure that was intended there from Danny Brough. It looked as though you're going to kick down onto the left-hand side into the corner. Went right away, and it just bobbled in front of Francis Melly. Did well to catch it.
Cunningham's the dummy half. Showed it to Graham. Gave it to Wheeler. Great ball from him to Flannery. Flannery had to be hunted down and was.
Just shows you the little skills there. Gary Wheeler, beautiful little pass.
Here is Leon Price. Here is Gary Wheeler again. He bullets the pass wide to Gilmore. Blanche is all over him. Wheeler at dummy half this time. Graham's on his shoulder. They go the other way. Finds Leon Price. Price looking to offload. Does so to Melly. Melly then tried to get the ball inside to John Wilkin. Blaymeyer.
Good intercept, wasn't it, from the full-back? Not so sure the pass was on. Maybe good inroads on that left-hand side. Would have been better served there, Melly, to gone down, played the ball.
You see in that last little bit of field position that St Helens had, they had Wheeler and Leon Price, and Leon Price played the traditional half-back role of being the first pass, and I think that's going to take away a little bit of the St Helens offensive play. He's so elusive just on the edge, and Sean Long normally just gives him so much space in that area, and by him playing first pass, there's going to be a lot of responsibility on Wheeler to make sure he takes the right options, whether to run or pass on that edge to the back rowers and to the centres.
It was a good idea from Scott Griggs, but it just went out on the full.
The last 2 kicks have been awful for Wakefield. Continue to give St Helens the ball in your half of the field. You're inviting trouble. I don't know, we haven't timed all the play the balls, but it seems as though St Helens are getting up and play the ball quicker, and that suits Kieran Cunningham so much.
This is Wilkin, and it was deemed to be a forward pass. He went down the blind side with Cunningham, and then Cunningham spun the ball inside to Wilkin, and touch judges call a forward pass.
I think they got it right as well. Plan move. Break away from the scrum, should I say. Interesting to see how Mick Potter using Cunningham. Out of the hook and roll there.
That was Oliver Wilkes who played the ball. This is Ryan Atkins, that's forward 2. Well, they're allowing play on here, it's Aaron Murphy.
Well, the official has claimed that a St Helens hand is the reason why it travelled forward. I'm not so sure myself.
Tavita Leolatu bumps out of 1-2, can't get away from James Graham.
He's a real handful, isn't he, Leolatu? Well, that was a pass to me.
Looked like it.
Yep.
Oh, Griggs has dropped it. St Helens will get the ball from the turnover. It was the last tackle. A little shake of the head from the man who captained Ireland in the World Cup in Australia last year. This is Paul Clough. Ever present so far, John Keir. His men have made a decent enough start to this match.
They'll be happy with the fact that they've struggled back. They've got back in numbers.
This is Leon Price.
You just get the feeling, Eddie, that this St Helens outfit, you know, they're bossing things in and around the play the ball area, and that is a silly penalty giveaway. Hasn't been a good 10 minutes for this fella, Scott Griggs. Kick out in the full, then he knocks on, then gives away a penalty.
He's trying to slow St Helens down. Paid the price. This is Graham. Cunningham is the dummy half, 20 metres away. Now it's Price. Good ball to Flannery, but Flannery goes without it.
Offside. Couldn't take it. Nice planned move, maybe a little bit too fancy. And they're in a good position. You can see coming on the angle. He did that last week against Leeds. It's the type of run that he's used to, but got to make sure he catches the ball first.
Well, a wonderful start for Wakefield, and that's why they lead by 6 points to 0. And they've repelled the borders as far as St Helens are concerned for the quarter of an hour or so since the opening try. They lead here by 6 points to 0.
So many players don't know where to tap the ball. I know more and more players are asked to do it now. It used to be the role of the hooker, didn't it, traditionally? But if you have to tap the ball, you have to do it 10 metres in from the sideline. The marks to indicate where that is on the field. You really shouldn't be given 2 chances. If you do it in the wrong place, you should lose the chance then to attack.
Absolutely, and also, I know that they say it has to be the lower part of the leg, but it goes off the knees and the thighs at times as well. I think it's the coaches, Phil, don't you? We have one with us.
Always looking for advantages, us coaches.
Well, Wakefield get the advantage here because Pitts was not allowed to get to his feet to play the ball. Hands in at the ruck as well.
He'll learn. And Gary Wheeler. Interesting to see how he handles the full game, the full 80 minutes. It's a big ask.
Oliver Wilkes plays the ball to Tavita Leo Latu. And this now is Jay Pitts, going in at the deep end last year, and he swam for John Keir. It's now Steve Snitch again. A try scorer. Leo Latu comes down the short side with Demetriou, and Matt Gidley would not be fooled by that.
He was looking for someone to come in short on that second phase. There was no one there.
Danny Brough, long pass. Griggs taking them on himself.
The kick play for Wakefield, Eddie, for the last few years has been a big one. They score a lot of tries from this way.
Let's see what Brough can do here. That ricochets off Leon Price's knees, and then
did Price grab him back?
Well, Brough got a toe poke to it and knocked it over the line. It's going to be head and feet at the scrum to St Helens. There was a question mark about it, that's for sure.
Well, he pulls him back, or is it the opposite way around? 50-50, I suppose, in many ways.
Pushing and shoving.
If you're both running in the right direction, you can use your shoulder, and that's all. Not supposed to use your arm or your hands.
Danny Brough, he made his first appearance of the year against the Catalan Dragons 2 weeks ago. He looked a little bit rusty. Skillmore plays the ball here to Melly. This now is Hargreaves again. Bryn Hargreaves, a remarkable story really. His 100th career appearance last week, but it's his 31st consecutive appearance here. And when you think he was a fringe player that was brought across from Wigan to St Helens, he really has matured into a Super League regular. Here is Paul Clough.
Now this is where Leon Price has to start taking control. A la Sean Long.
Cunningham. Good run from Cunningham, great ball as well, and Graham's on the pass from Wilkin, and St Helens go over underneath the sticks courtesy of James Graham. The scores will be level in a moment when the conversion is taken. He really does look the best prop in Super League, doesn't he? Most carries, most metres forward. A try here tonight, his third of the campaign. 21 carries and 145 metres made last week against Leeds. And he comes up with St Helens' first try here tonight.
He's a talented player as well. He knows where to position himself. He could see that the inside ball was on. Great work. How many times have we seen this from Cunningham? Wilkin knew exactly where Graham was going to be. That was a tremendous try. What a player he's turned out to be, James Graham. And you can never, ever forget the fact that Kieran Cunningham, time and time again, just makes that break from dummy half. How many years has he been doing that, Eddie? Super stuff.
Well, he's certainly been doing it for every one of the Super League years, that's for sure. And Wheeler is the man with the conversion duties tonight. And Gary Wheeler, 19 years of age, his 5th appearance of the campaign. He makes it 6-6 here at Bellevue between Wakefield and St Helens.
Do you know, I want to make a point here. What you do on the first play in a set of possession is vitally important. just look at the metres that Gilmore made. Wakefield players still retreating, and that enabled all of the subsequent players to get up quickly, make metres, and it made Cunningham, gave him the chance to run so dominantly from the dummy half position.
That ball is out on the fall. Wilkin caught it, but his foot was over the whitewash. It'll come back to the halfway line for a penalty to St Helens.
Did well there. Just got his foot down before he touched the football.
Cunningham again, meanwhile, for St Helens from the penalty on halfway.
Well, it's amazing. Since that little kick from Danny Brough that created that try for Steve Snitch, the Wakefield kicking game has been very poor from there on in. It has to improve. John Key has got to get the message out.
Wheeler, quick hands, looked to touch forward. There was a cry for forward from the terrace over on the far side.
Good job that Demetriou was there. Wilkin was at full pace.
Clough will drive it in again for St Helens.
Wakefield are hanging back. You could see Clough. He made 10 metres forward before Wakefield even started moving.
Here's Cunningham. Knock on, says Thierry Alibert, and St Helens will get the scrum. I think Cunningham is saying this ball was stolen from him.
It was. Now this is a moment. He's just got his foot down before he touches the ball. If it had been the other way around, it would have been classed as a scrum down, head and feed Wakefield. Pretty close to it.
This is Gidley for St Helens from that scrum feed. Gardner trying to batter his way to the line. He's held up 3 metres short. Cunningham again. There's the pass to Price. Here is Lomax. Lomax finds Wheeler, and Wheeler comes back on the inside. Wheeler, great try. Great try from Gary Wheeler for St Helens. Magnificent try. Usually a standoff. Gary Wheeler playing at standoff here tonight. He made his debut for St Helens there against Huddersfield last season, Gary Wheeler. And, well, with Lomax in the side tonight, they've now got the 4th teenager to debut for St Helens this year. The names change, nothing else does.
This all came about by Wilkin being so cool and collected. Then it was stripped. They got away from that. But nothing was going to stop this guy. This is sheer quality. Count them. 1, 2, 3. That, my friends, is top drawer. You can try all you like, but you need quality and you need skill, and this is wonderful. They think highly of him at St Helens, and when you score tries like that, why not?
And he's going to try and improve his own 4 points as well to 6, which he does. So it's Wakefield 6, St Helens 12, after that early flourish from Wakefield. They've just gone a little bit in their shell in the last quarter of an hour.
Well, it's quite amazing too when you consider that Matty Smith and Kyle Eastman are 2 people we've seen play. Here's the run. Just look, all the defenders running towards the sideline. He knows that he has the advantage. As we clear the line there, you just see that Maisie step, and then accelerate hard, pushes through to the try line. Great individual score.
Yes, there's so many of the St Helens youngsters. As you say, Kyle Eastman's coming back from injury. Scott Moore is another one.
Matty Smith down at Celtic Crusaders. They are that far in front of so many other sides with their youth development and their succession planning that, you know, it really is a wake-up call for many clubs.
Well, Gary Wheeler, the latest to catch the eye. The 19-year-old's just scored his 4th try of the season, 2 in as many weeks.
The interesting thing as well, Eddie, is that Mick Potter, you know, not frightened to give the young guys a go, you know, Lomax, but that was quality. Sheer quality from Wheeler.
Magnificent. There he is, the St Helens coach. Of course, there are people who say that no matter what the age, if you come into a side like St Helens, you're surrounded by quality players. It's very easy to have that quality reflected in you, but there is no doubt the youngsters at St Helens, tremendous. Kick is too deep from Leon Price.
Yeah, they won't mind too much. The crowd thought perhaps that in the build-up to that kick that Wilkin had knocked on. And that's the reason why St Helens, they often don't worry about the fact if the ball goes dead in goal. They know they can get their good one-liner defence, which have been pretty good so far.
I think Wakefield are rather fortunate, Eddie, that they're only 6 points behind. When you look that St Helens have had twice as much possession in that half of the field. Wakefield have been clearing the lines, they've made error after error, the kicks have been poor, doing well to survive and still be just one score behind.
Yes, it's 12-6 to St Helens. Sam Obst from dummy half. A little scamper. He's quite dangerous. Sam Obst on his day. He's just the last two since the victory against Warrington here last month.
Well, I said it needed height. This is unbelievably high.
And what's the referee in touch judge going to decide here? Knock on, I think, against Wakefield, and it's the turnover.
He's got it! He's another!
Well, Gleeson not impressed.
There's one or two furrowed brows, isn't there,
Yes.
when the referee blows his whistle.
But again, another
Square! Just
non-positive finish to their set of 6 there. Each time they had a few good carries leading up to that kick there, and Danny Bruff comes up with a poor kick. They just need to make sure that they've got a nice positive finish to the back end of their sets, and then they'll get the field position, then they'll get the consecutive ball in hand, and that's when they'll be able to apply some pressure. But at the moment, they're just letting St Helens off the hook by just not completing their sets and finishing off with a good kick.
Here is James Graham again for St Helens.
Now look where Lomax is. I know he started this game as a fullback, but I don't think that's where you'll see him play for the rest of his career. He'll be closer to the action in the next few years.
There he is again, number 30, operating at full-back. That's not the best pass, it went to ground, and Wakefield have it back.
Poor pass, and not the best effort either by Jason Kalis. Found it difficult to bend down and pick the ball up there.
This is Kevin Henderson now.
Well, he'll certainly add a little bit more spice. That's good refereeing.
That's a good run from Damien Blanche as well.
There was interference there. It wasn't the best play of the ball, but there were interference from Saints. Now, if Wakefield anything better than the kicking game, the short kicking game at the
Great
moment.
offload that was. This is Griggs. And Griggs manages to get the ball away to Damien Blanche. And Blanche will drive to the line. Good run that from Damien Blanche. Good play from Wakefield there. That's a penalty. Has to be. This time St Helens, the men are trying to slow the ball down. And he wants them to play on, John Keir.
Eddie, I'm surprised that he hasn't gone to the sin bin. That was a professional foul. No doubt about it at all.
Demetriou here now for Wakefield. Sam Obst is the man at dummy half. He gives the ball infield. This is Kyle Bibb. And Bibb is pulled down by 3 St Helens defenders.
They need second phase here, Wakefield. Good dummy running.
Obst gets the ball away there to Snitch again. This time they are equal to the task, the St Helens defenders. Obst once more will find Bruff. And Bruff will give it to Atkins. And Atkins will take them on. Great pass on the inside. Blaymire. Brilliant. Aaron Murphy. Fantastic try from Wakefield that. Absolutely fantastic try. John Keir asked for the play on. He asked for the 4 points after the penalty under the sticks. And Aaron Murphy obliges. His first appearance of the year against Catalan Dragons 2 weeks ago, he got a try. And he's come up with a second try of the season in this, his second appearance of 2009 in the Engage Super League. Another one for the future here. Aaron Murphy, just 20 years of age, and that was a great Wakefield try. Well crafted.
Certainly was. He utilised the big forwards down the middle. The offload there was superb, wasn't it? Scott Griggs set it all off. Blanche took it on further. This is the moment where it should really have been a yellow card. Rolling forward, keep going. And that they did. Watch the link. Super stuff. Atkins did well. Bang! Gets it back on the inside. Fullback says, get over there, Mr. Murphy. And boy, didn't he just do that.
Danny Bruff to add the extras. What a great kick. Scottish international captain in the World Cup. He has now declared himself he's available for England, Danny Bruff. That's a fantastic kick after a great try.
They just hesitated slightly. You can see that 2 men went to them, Gidley and Wheeler, and it left Murphy with an easy lunge right over in that left-hand corner. It pleases the coach, John Keir.
It pleases the Wakefield supporters as well. They're all square here against St Helens, 12 apiece.
Just also shows, Eddie, that defending offloads is so difficult, no matter how organised your defensive line is now, how good your on the goal line defence is. An offload will always make it very, very difficult to shut down. And even preceding that try play, a couple of offloads in the plays before just had the St Helens defence a little bit disjointed.
So Wakefield now will try and work this ball away from their own try line. Another offload, that's a dangerous one though. And they've lost the ball forward from Dimitriou. Well, they caused their own problems then, Wakefield.
Well, there's one thing doing it at that end of the field, but you don't do it when you've just regained possession from the kick-off.
This is A.D. Gardner for St Helens. Lomax in a dummy half. He looks left and finds Wilkin. Wilkin then finds Price. Price gives it width to Gilmore. And Gilmore is hauled down by Sean Gleeson. This is Maori Fasavalou. Fasavalou will drive it in. And he tries to get his arm free to plonk it over the line. They force him back. That's the fourth tackle. There's Lomax again. Ball is in the arms here of Leon Price. He gets his arms away. And Wakefield do well to bring the man down. Last tackle here. Wilkin stabs a beautiful little kick in, looking for Flannery. He finds Gidley instead.
They got caught
Gidley.
short there.
Gidley with the try. 2 last week against Leeds. And Matt Gidley will remember last year's grand final when he got a try in vain against the Leeds Rhinos. 11 tries though in 32 appearances last year, only 2 absences. And Gidley's try here is his 5th of 2009.
No pressure at all on Wilkin. To be fair to him, he put himself in a good position. It was all confusion there as the ball came quite close. And this was a mistake by the skipper, Dimitriou. Wheeler picked up the bits. But the kick from John Wilkin was superb. No pressure applied. Took his time. Flannery really confused Blaymire.
Wheeler adds the extras. It's 18-12 to St Helens. And Phil Clark, you're absolutely right. You gift possession to St Helens anywhere near your own goal line. It's an invitation that they never turn down to score.
You do often see that though. When a player's picked up and pushed back towards their own try line, there's a nervousness and perhaps an inexperience to offload the ball and try and magic your way out of trouble. The temptation that is there to keep the ball alive, and sometimes you have to resist that, keep hold of it. But Wakefield were unable to resist that, and then we've just got to see just the multi-talented St Helens side here, who again for the second week in a row are showing us just what a class act they are.
Let's get down to Bill on the side. Bill?
Go.
Eddie, as Aaron Murphy celebrated his try, there was a nice touch, just a reminder of one part of tonight, pointing to the armband, and Leon Walker, the name, and Aaron Murphy and Leon Walker were quite close, I understand, and he's dedicated that try to his late friend.
Yes, the whole night has been dedicated to the memory of Leon Walker. This is a high tackle, meanwhile, from Danny Sculthorpe on Maori Fasavalou.
Okay, Danny.
Fasavalou fully recovered from the controversial tackle by Ryan Bailey last week. The Rugby Football League saw nothing wrong with it, neither did our commentary team, and neither did the Boots and All guests on Wednesday. But 1 or 2 people, and certainly in St Helens, they believe that it wasn't the best challenge they've ever seen.
Which side are you on?
Straight down the middle, me.
Okay.
Lomax gets the ball away to Pulatuya. Ooh, look to offload that out the back. Falls around his neck, he manages to hang on to it.
Only just as well.
Wait.
Lomax has got his hand on there to try and make sure the ball doesn't come out of Pulatuya's grasp. This is Fasavalou, gets a decent enough pass. It was a little bit behind the player who was the number 28, Matty Ashurst. Good run from Fasavalou, barnstorming run from Fasavalou. Here's Lomax to Price, and Leon Price will stagger his way over the line for another St Helens try. Great run from Fasavalou, put them in the picture and in the position to do that. The blood is still there from that nose injury. He's been back to hospital twice this week apparently to have the blood stem, but Leon Price, he was the right man on the end of the pass, and he comes up with the latest St Helens try.
He knows how to put the knife in, this fella, Leon Price, at a time when Fasavallou's strength gets him through in a great break. Wonderful effort there, and you can see the Wakefield defence, they're struggling to get themselves sorted out, and by the time they'd done that, it was a dummy, and the man was straight away. Nothing that Henderson could do to stop him. To the dummy, Brough had gone out wide, Henderson should have it, he didn't. Vintage stuff from this fella.
Leon Price with the try. Had his problems off the field this week, but no problems tonight for scoring the try, although Wheeler could not add the extras. It's 22-12 though to St Helens. Well, Wakefield got themselves to 12 apiece, and St Helens have hit them with 10 tries without reply.
All right.
I think the 10 points is a fair reflection of just how much St Helens have been better than Wakefield here. Continuous errors. The last 2 tries that St Helens have scored have both been on the last tackle, so Wakefield have been close. There's been a great deal of endeavour, but that extra class that Saints have had has just shown, hasn't it, and how easily the scoreboard can run away from a team. Wakefield and John Key hoping that it doesn't go any more than 10 more points before they get for a break.
2 minutes to the half-time siren.
Second! Move, Danny!
This is Pulatuya again. He's a giant of a man, Tony Pulatuya, 22 times a New Zealand international, representing Samoa in the World Cup last year, though.
That's the difference that Big Potter has over a lot of the other clubs, is that they have got size and they've got weight and they've got strength in the forward pack. We just saw the break there from the wonderful Maury Fasavallou that set up that last try for Price.
Blaymire called for that and dealt with the threat from Wilkins' kick. Yes, you're right, they do have size, they do have power, they do have class, and they also have the likes of Francis Melly and Tony Pulatuya to come into the side when the likes of Roby, Wellens and Long are forced out by injury.
Hey, let's not forget, Wakefield are missing 7 men who, if everybody was fit, would be in the starting 17 here tonight. They would feature. So there is no club more decimated by injuries in the start of 2009 than the Wildcats, and it's remarkable that they've still managed to pick up 4 wins.
Yes, and they are still, at this moment in time, unbeaten here at Bellevue. That's a great, brave run from Demetriou, and the referee saw a high tackle there. And so he has pinged St Helens for the tackle.
Well, a golden opportunity there. You can see that Kalis went in very, very high. Okay, made first impact on the shoulder, and he wants it running. Of course he does. Seconds to go.
Yes.
One drive and a kick. Danny Brough should take control of this now, surely.
That's Ferguson, I think, over on that far side. There is Sam Obst. He'll bring it infield to Brough, who then gives it to Kyle Bibb. This is probably the last play the ball of this first half. Brough will stab the kick in, it hits the post again, it's going to come up for them here, I think, and it's Griggs. I think Griggs has scored. John Keir applauds, he asks for them again to run it. He sent that signal down twice, and if the video referee gives this, Ian Smith, it means that the signal has worked twice, and they've come up with 2 tries. And they might be within 4 points at half-time.
He's onside. It's only the grounding. He's at it again, is Danny Brough. It's a beautiful kick through. That's onside as far as I am concerned, but I'm not the video referee. Ian Smith is the one that's doing that. That's a knock-on. I'm afraid you cannot lose possession and let the ball hit the post. It's no try, I'm afraid.
Scott Griggs, I think, knows what we all know. The try is not given. He lost the ball, it hit the padding around the base of the posts, and that means that it was a knock-on. Here it is. That doesn't nullify a knock-on.
Perhaps many people thought that it should, but either way, they nearly got it, just what they wanted just before the half-time break.
Yes, they were close, but St Helens showing their class again.